The epic Saga of Yonder, the Ambiguous transition metal.
Here we have a bunch of neutrons and protons. They're all named Dave. A bunch of different forces attract Daves to each other, particularly when the Daves are surrounded by the searing fires of an exploding sun. When Daves combine to create nuclei, they also start pulling in electrons. These electrons are held in orbitals of increasing size and shape.
The first few are in s orbitals, which are spherical. As more electrons are added, they start filling up p orbitals, which are dumbbell-shaped. Eventually, they start being added to d orbitals, which aren't part of the valence, but can seriously change the chemical properties of an atom.
Atoms of this type are called transition metals.
This is Yonder. From the moment he was born in the heart of a burning star, Yonder knew that he was different. He had more than one stable oxidation state. He could lose different numbers of electrons. He was colored. He exhibited magnetic properties. He was paramagnetic. His electron spins were random, but became aligned when subjected to a magnetic field, causing an attraction. It was not long before his Daves began to range out and seek friends with other Daves. Molecules or ions called ligands bonded to him, coordinating themselves around him and forming a coordination complex in a coordination sphere. He felt that they defined an important part of his existence. So in addition to his primary valence number, which was his oxidation state, he also came up with a coordination number, which was the number of atoms bonded to him. However, he began to fall in with the wrong crowd. In accepting ligands, what he was really doing was accepting available pairs of electrons into his empty valence orbitals. According to the Lewis definition, he was an acid. He started hanging out with all of the Bronsted-Lowry acids and bases, who were active and sometimes violent. He dropped out of transition school for metals and went to live in one of the Orr's houses of questionable activities. Here he lived a quiet, yet somewhat dirty life. Little did he suspect, his life was about to change, forever. Far off, the evil megacorporation SKRL decided to mine in the bad part of Yonder's neighborhood. One day, early in the morning, Yonder was awoken from his hazy stupor by a loud whining sound, together with loud scraping sounds. He looked around, and suddenly he saw everything he knew moving away from him. Only he and his acid base buddies were being carried by the evil megacorporation back to their evil lab, where they did evil science. Evilly. He was quickly sent to their most secret department, which dealt with issues so dangerous and evil that it was known only by the name Skrillex. Their first test was to see what sort of ligands could bond to him. Having tested monodentate ligands, which could bond only to a single area in the coordination sphere. They tested bidentate and polydentate ligands. These molecules grasped onto him with multiple donor atoms, which the Skrillex scientists called chelating. They began testing chelating agents on him to be used for everything from salad dressing to catalyzing decomposition reactions. To remove toxic, heavy metal ions, they used the porphine molecule to form complexes called porphyrins. They even discovered that carbon monoxide could be used as a colorless and odorless poison, because it prevented the porphyrins in hemoglobin from bonding to oxygen. They also discovered some porphyrins called chlorophylls, which could be used to photosynthesize or convert solar energy into usable energy. It was here that Yonder met Rednoy. Rednoy turned out to have exactly the same composition as Yonder, but a different arrangement of atoms, meaning that the two were isomers. If they had different bonds, they would be called structural isomers, but in fact, they had the same bonds and different ways in which their ligands occupied the space around them, making them stereoisomers. They formed perfect mirror images, so unlike geometric isomers, they were optical isomers, also called enantiomers. They were also chiral, because they could not be superimposed on each other. By hitting them with electrons, the Skrillex scientists discovered that Yonder and Rednoy absorbed and emitted certain spectra of light, depending on which energy levels they could change to by rearranging the split of their orbitals. But then, as they continued to be bombarded by electrons, Yonder and Rednoy found themselves mutating. They transformed into superheroes. They then broke out of Skrillex and defeated the villain, and celebrated by going out and buying pizza, thereby injecting money into the food industry and stimulating a massive growth trend. The economy was saved. The world was saved. President Obama met with them personally and thanked them. Hooray! These molecules grasped onto him with multiple donor atoms, which the Skrillex scientist called cheating. That's not cheating.